Take the snap, and he's going to run with it. Around the left side. Touchdown, Lakeside. Touchdown, Lakeside. Touchdown, Lakeside.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third episode of our Coaches Show. We're so glad you could join us today. I'm your host, Chase Hartsell, and once again, we're going to kick off the show with Coach McBride. Coach McBride, thanks for sitting down with us today.
Good morning. Thank you.
All right, so another tough game this week. It was a heartbreaker. Came down to the wire. You guys lost 67-58 to Malvern. You know, after a loss, it's hard to find some high points, but what was a good high point?
Yeah, I think we competed very well as a team. You know, we were always in the game, leading for most of it. So, you know, just seeing our guys compete and just kind of still figuring out some pieces to the puzzle, and hopefully we'll get that put together before we start Camden this week. But I was really encouraged by seeing our guys compete.
Was there one play that really stood out to you?
You know, in the middle of the third quarter, I think it was about a 22-point swing where they scored, had an onside kick, got it, and scored again, and kind of turned things around, momentum going their way. So probably that onside kick was kind of the pivot point for us during the game.
Yeah, it was a pretty tough loss, but one of the high points was Taylor Gillum. He had 143 yards and 2 touchdowns. You know, he's had a little bit of adversity these first 2 weeks. Do you think he's starting to settle into that starting quarterback position now?
I think so. You know, he calmed down and played a good game. Did exactly what we needed him to do. You know, didn't force anything and kind of played within what we needed from him, and he had a good ball game.
Do you think this is going to be something that we start to see more regularly as the season goes on?
I hope so. I think we're settling down a little bit, kind of on all aspects of the game. We still got to clean up the little things that's kind of still plaguing us, but just clean those things up, and we'll be able to compete in conference.
Well, there was a lot of offense in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, we talked about it being possibly a shootout.
Mm-hmm.
58 points for Lakeside, and 40 of those were credited to Dupree Swanson. He had 320 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 two-point conversions.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say was the key to success for him in that game?
He ran hard. I think the guys up front did a really good job of blocking, receivers included. It kind of takes all 11 for us offensively to make a good play work. So really proud of the guys that were on the field. He ran hard, he competed well, and you know, was kind of the highlight for us on the offensive side for sure.
You know, we talked about the developing O-line in the offseason. Would you say they were a real key to success here?
Most definitely. You know, we made a couple changes up front, moved some guys around, but they did a good job and really were a force of moving the line of scrimmage.
So it was a pretty tough game on defense, 67 points allowed, but still the team made some pretty good stops there, especially in the early going. Only had 8 points in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they started out very well. You know, I think their game plan was to kind of get us in space, and they did a good job of that. They have a really good quarterback. Jemerson is a very special athlete, and their game plan was to get us in space, and we knew we had to get more guys to the ball, and for us, we kind of got stuck in some one-on-one situations, and that guy's going to beat a lot of guys in a one-on-one situation.
So did Jemerson hit you with what you expected, or did he maybe come out with something different?
Yeah, I think so. You know, that's the game plan going in. You know, that's what they try to do to everybody, and unfortunately, we couldn't get him on the ground.
So now we move out. It's the end of the preseason, as you like to call it.
Mm-hmm.
We had our special this offseason. That's what you like to refer to it as. Coming off of that, you know, this team, we talked about finding an identity, you know, finding out what this team is, you know, where everybody fits in. Do you think we're starting to see that and we're getting ready for conference play?
I think the puzzle's getting a little bit clearer for us. You know, we have some practice for this week to get ready, and maybe a few positions to move around, but I think we're ready to start conference. You know, we don't want to start 0-3. We did last year. We don't want to do that, but it's kind of, it is what it is, and we're ready to move forward within conference. We've got a great opportunity for Camden coming up this week for homecoming and coming back here. We had a great environment with our fans and all the youth football players and young cheerleaders, and it was a great Friday night for football, and we expect that again this week.
And speaking of this week, it is homecoming week. Mm-hmm. With it being the homecoming game, does it have a little bit of an effect on the players or even the coaching staff?
I think so. You know, it's very busy. There's lots of things going on, so we try to keep our guys focused on what it takes to win the game, but we also want them to have fun with the activities that go on during the week and the pep rally and knowing that they got the dance the next night. But you know, everybody remembers if you win or if you lose, you know. So we really focus on that and want to bring home a win. It's very important to us for homecoming, but it's very important to us in the conference race also.
Is there a little bit of added pressure with alumni presence?
You know, we always want to represent our school well. We always want to do the best that we can, but we know there'll be a lot of people in town that are here just for coming back to see what's going on. So we want to put out a good product for sure.
Okay, now looking ahead to the Camden Fairview game, is there a player there kind of like Demias Jimerson with Malvern that you really look at and focus on heading into this game?
They've got a couple good ball players that kind of carry the load for them. I don't think that there's another Jimerson on our schedule, hopefully, but you know, for Camden, they're a little more balanced, a little more spread the ball around a little bit. So hopefully we can defend well and put the ball in the end zone.
So number 5, Delvonte Lewis, he had a pretty big game against you guys last year. Is he on the radar heading into this game?
Most definitely. You know, he's one that they're going to try to get the ball to and get him open into space, and we've got to do a good job of rallying to him and getting him on the ground.
So looking forward to the season ahead, you know, 0-3 starting last year, similar situation here this year. You know, what do you think the future holds based on last year for this team this year?
I think we're ready to compete. We're ready to get started within conference. There's a lot of good football teams in our conference, so we just kind of take it week by week, and you know, it's always proven that you can't win conference if you don't beat Camden. So this is our opportunity, and every time we've won conference, we've beat them. So this is a big game for us.
And you talked about the importance of this game in the preseason. You were pointing to this game on the schedule. You know, how important is it as a momentum shifter in the schedule?
Most definitely, you know, especially with the way we've started. But just being able to get started 1-0 in conference is kind of the key and what will drive us to a good conference season.
All right, well, that's it. Thanks, Coach, for sitting down with us.
Yeah.
And good luck this week.
Thanks a bunch. I appreciate it.
We'll be right back with our special guest player.
Do you talk to your family without really communicating? Our new Lenox Ultimate Comfort System communicates with each component of the system, which communicates with you at home or away, giving you the ultimate control and perfect air. Wouldn't it be nice if everything in your life worked that well together?
Call Grisham Air Care for perfect air in your home.
Grisham Air Care and Lenox, the ultimate home comfort team. Lenox, innovation never felt so good.
Welcome back to the Coaches Show, everyone. At this time, we're joined by Lakeside corner Brandon Chambers. Brandon, thanks for sitting down with us today.
Thank you for having me this morning.
So it's hard to look at highlights after a loss like last week. You know, it was a pretty big heartbreaker, but what would you say was a real high point maybe for you or for one of your teammates?
I think the high point was probably recovering the fumble. It was late second quarter. I think we were up by a touchdown, and Aaron Killian stripped the ball, and I just happened to fall on it, and it gave the offense a boost of momentum. And another one would probably be Dupree's first touchdown. It kind of just got him rolling, man. He had a great night. I think offense had over 400 yards offensively. They steamrolled them. But I think that'd be the best two highlights of the night for our team and us.
It's so rare to get turnover from somebody with the caliber of Demias Jimerson. You know, what was that like to get a turnover of such, you know, a highly scouted player coming into this game?
It meant a lot, actually. It kind of slowed them down offensively, especially Demias. I mean, man, he was unbelievable. He's probably one of the best we played in the state. I hope we don't have to face another Jimerson on our schedule, but getting the ball out of his hands and off them off the field was a momentum swinger for sure.
Yeah, and speaking of Demias, did he meet the hype heading into this game?
Yeah, we were spying him all week, you know, talking, you know, get the ball out of number 2's hands, but they spread us out defensively, and they did what they had to do, and so did he. But he lived up to the hype. Yeah, we knew how good he was going to be and what he was going to bring to the table, and he brought it.
You know, what was that like to finally be on the field facing him one-on-one?
I've seen him play since freshman year. He's senior, so he's in my grade. I've seen him play all the way up till now, and he's always been that good. He's always lived up to the hype, and being on the field with him since my sophomore year, seeing him play for Malvern as quarterback he's always been a special athlete. So he's pretty good.
So we go back to Dupree. Had the big game. We talked to Torrin. He said, you can expect an outbreak, but was anybody expecting a game of this caliber from Dupree?
I don't think so. Dupree brought it Friday, if I could say that. Everyone knows that Dupree's an all-state running back. He's obviously one of the best offensive weapons we have, him and Michael James. But Dupree, he lived up to his hype. I think he kind of surprised some people and had one of the best games he's ever had. I'm pretty sure he broke all of his personal records. So. But he's a special athlete, good running back, and he's going to go really far this season.
So would you say this was definitely one of his top games?
I would say so. I think I would say so.
So this week you have the homecoming game versus Camden Fairview. What is it like to play in the homecoming game at J.W. Chick Austin Field?
It's exciting. It's definitely a lot of emotions. We always try and focus on, in practice, worry about the game more than the homecoming. Have your fun, and then as soon as homecoming's over, we're in the locker room, get your mind right, get everything off your mind and get ready for the game. But it's awesome. I mean, we had a huge crowd Friday night against Malvern, and we hope to have that again and, get the win for a great crowd and the cheerleaders and all the kids and that comes out and support us.
Speaking of homecoming week, we have our themed dressing days. Do you or does anybody else on the team have any big plans for one of the days?
I actually after this have to go to my car and get dressed up if I have time. But I think the 90s day. I think it's the Generations Day is 90s for the seniors, and I think a couple of us can go out pretty big. I think it'll be pretty fun.
We talked to Torrin last week, and he said Dupree was the real party animal. Has he got any big plans this week?
He's actually dressed up as one of the Migos today. He's a celebrity. He's, I think, Takeoff or something. I'm not sure. But the 90s, like I said, going back to the 90s day, I think Dupree's going to go out with a pretty big bang, MC Hammer type style. Yeah. And it'll be pretty fun.
Yeah, he kind of resembles him in his style.
Yes. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's pretty fun. He's a good dancer. He's really talented, too.
So going back to Camden Fairview, as a player on defense, is there anybody you're looking at trying to contain in specific this week?
No, they have a couple good players that kind of carry their team, and number 5, he's one of the ones that we're gonna have to look at. They have their 2 outside wide receivers coming back from last year, I'm pretty sure. But no demise, that's for sure. But they're a good team, and I think we're both 0-3, both looking for a win. So it's gonna be a hype game.
Yeah. How big is a win gonna be like that?
Going into conference, that first win is gonna, I think, really push us forward into getting conference championship again. Like I said, we have to live up to the hype. That's gonna push us a little bit more on the track. Winning this first game. We did last year. I think we beat Camden my sophomore year and junior year, and that's the first time in a long time. So Camden's a team we always want to beat, and especially now it's homecoming and it's conference opener, and moving forward, that's a huge win.
So with, homecoming, a winning streak on the line, after the game, if you get the W, is it going to be a celebration or a little bit of a sigh of relief? Maybe a combination of both?
A combination of both. Definitely celebration because of homecoming, and then kind of staying positive. That's going to be our goal, capitalizing on everything we can. And if we get that W, I think it's going to mean a lot to our community and our guys.
Yeah. So with this being your senior year, looking back on your time at Lakeside, what were some of your favorite memories, both on and off the field?
On the field would have to be my sophomore year against Central. It was my first time starting high school football, and it was a great game. Went down to the wire. We onside kick, scored, made it 44-42, I believe, and came back and beat a team that we weren't supposed to beat. No one had us picked to win. So I think that was one of the best moments. And then off the field, just as a football player and a Lakeside student, it's probably just being around everybody, being at Lakeside and going to practice and being in classes. I think I don't really have any big special moments besides, homecoming and proms, but just being around everyone is pretty big to me. I'm a huge people person. I enjoy that aspect.
Yeah. Going back to that Central game, what was it like to make your debut at War Memorial Stadium?
I wasn't necessarily nervous. It was more anxiety. I was anxious. It was an experience. It kind of led me to the player I am now. There was a lot of good players that sophomore class, or the senior class, my sophomore year, and I had to work, really hard to get that starting spot. Coach Wallace at the time, he picked me, so it was huge into my growth and who I am now and the player I am now. I think it was huge. Yeah, when you headed back to play Robinson, were you flooded with a little bit of nostalgia from the first 2 games there and making your debut 2 years ago? This first game was pretty emotional for me, knowing it was my last first game, and it was for all the seniors, but style-wise, I was a little bit more aggressive against Robinson. I knew what I had to bring. I was covering Nathan Page. He's one of the top prospects in the state. But yeah, kind of, that debut at War Memorial I had, then going back playing at my last year, first game, it was huge. And it kind of brought me back to, maybe we can get this win like we did at Central. Yeah. So going after high school, do you have any plans maybe for your future? I'm working on, playing college football right now, keeping my grades up, but as of right now, I'm not sure where I'm going to go. Looking at Hendrix and OBU and some other smaller schools, maybe UCA. But as of right now, I'm just trying to work as hard as I can to get to that next level. Those are some very good football programs here in state. Mm-hmm. Definitely some contenders in their respective conferences. Oh yeah. There's some great colleges in the state, and it helps me out a lot. So, transcending football, is there something about you you'd like people to know? Outside of football, I think probably just my leadership and the fact that I care. I think most of my teammates could say that. I care about every single one of them, and I care about our team, and I care about people. I'm a huge people person, and at the end of the day, I just want to let people know, I care. I'd be there for you. So, other than that, I'm a pretty fun guy, but that's about it. Yeah. We actually sat down with Coach McBride in the preseason, and he talked about senior leadership. And along with Torrin Davis, your name was commonly brought up in the conversation. How do you lead guys like this after a start like this? Do you maybe motivate them with the scenario from last year? Last year, the seniors last year, they kind of had to do that with us, and that's what I look upon. Caleb Dean last year had a huge impact on me. He told us, keep going, keep fighting, and that's why I tell my guys as much as I can. It's kind of hard through all this adversity, and for a team to keep going through 0-3 and keep fighting, it's difficult. But I just tell my guys, we have to keep fighting. Last year's last year, and it's a new year. But to get that conference championship like we want, and we've been talking about, it's definitely going to keep on trucking and keep fighting. But we also have one last thing before you leave. This is what we like to call our Ball of Fame. Anytime we have a special guest in the studio, we like to have them sign this ball. So far, we've had Ryan Leaf, Michael James, Torrin Davis all in here, and you will be our 4th signee behind them. Thank you. Well, thank you, Brandon, and good luck this week. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. That's going to wrap up our show. Don't forget to come to the Camden game, but if you can't make it this Friday, we will be broadcasting it right here on Lakeside TV at 7 p.m. For now, this is Chase Hartsell signing off. Have a great week, everyone, and go Rams.
Before you can find your potential, you first have to find your path. At National Park College, our mission is to help you do both, with a university experience that's close to home. With career-focused education, help with job placement and a variety of programs to choose from, and a cost that's less than half of four-year universities, National Park College can put you on the path to a better education. Visit np.edu today and find your path.
Swanson's going to take the snap. He's going to try to take it up the middle here, and it's off to the races. Touchdown, Lakeside.